Good morning.
Good morning.
The official good morning after you wake up from the meditation, right? It's great to see all of you here this morning. And it's always interesting to me when I hear the prayer requests and that time of going into our heart space. It's always a fascinating time for me how we put words to what is happening in our human experience. Because how else would we do it? How else could we convey in our best way what is happening in our life? So that's kind of what we do. Out here in the world, we have labels, and we have stories, and we have things that have been with us for quite some time. And it's easy to get caught up in that out there. It's easy to identify ourselves as a human physical body. And it's easy to forget the truth of who we are. So we have these physical bodies, and things happen to them. So my talk this morning, it's a continuation. I know Melanie, and I loved it that this theme for this month was healing. Because I don't know about you all, but I think it's probably the most talked about topic that I have ever found. Politics? Sure. Prayer? We talk about that. But if you really stop and think about it, it always seems like there's something going on. There's a prayer for this or a prayer for that. And that is a wonderful thing because to me, that is allowing us to reach for what we know to be true. And when I say reach for it, it's really reaching within. It's going within and recalling and remembering the truth of who we are. What I've noticed, though, in my life, and I say especially in the last few years, and especially in the last few months, what I have really, really noticed, because I've been around a lot of doctors in the last several years, and in the last few months I've been in hospitals and nursing homes and rehab facilities and all kinds of things, and the thing that I keep noticing is the energy of fear. If I could pick one thing that I notice the most is an energy of fear. And everybody is running around trying to find the cure. They're trying to fix something. We're wanting to know what's going on so we can say, hey, I need to take this and do this to that because I need it fixed. I need it done now. And as human beings, we have become so conditioned from the very first time, as the reading talked about earlier, from that first moment we were born, well, I believe anyway, and we incarnated here, we already knew we were whole and perfect. Our mind did not get in the way. Our essence, which I believe is love, that is what we emanated from. How could we even believe for a moment that we are anything other than whole and perfect? So it's conditioned out of us. Through our life, through our families, through the media out there. And what happens is we forget. We're on this path initially, and then we stray over here, we stray over there. When I say stray, I don't mean it in a negative way. It's just like driving somewhere, and all of a sudden we forget where we're going, and we pull off on the side of the road because maybe we've lost the directions. Maybe we have, what I like to think of, we have lost our focus. And our focus has become on the illness. It's become on the dis-ease. It's become on the thing, the problem. And this applies to not just physical healing. This is about anything. So it could be a relationship. It could be a financial situation. It could be anything that's out there that we are so focused on, like a flashlight, that's all we're seeing, that it's a problem. And we need to fix the problem. How can we enter into an energy of solutions, an energy of there is something else that exists if all of our energy is solely focused on that problem? We can never see anything else through our human lens. How is that possible? I don't think it is. I've tried and I've worn myself out trying to see it through a human lens. I have a little reading for you from the Science of Mind textbook. It's kind of like a Bible. I know Melanie's smiling because it's a really thick book. In healing, you are separating the false from the true. Healing is not creating a perfect idea or a perfect body. It is revealing an idea which is already perfect. It is not a process. It is a revelation. There may be a process in healing, but not a process of healing. Disease is a fact. Illness is a fact. Stuff happens. We can all attest to that. But it is not a truth. That's a big difference. It is an experience, but it is not a spiritual reality. Breathe that in for a moment. That's perhaps a little different than what you've been told and what doctors tell you. I know the last few months, I was waiting for a doctor to say to someone, "Oh, what I want you to do is to go home this afternoon, and I want you to love yourself up. I want you to love you in ways you have never done before. I want you to have people call you, and I want you to have a love-in like we did back in the 60s. And I just want you to roll around in it, and I just want you to be immersed in everything that is loving to you, that is kind to you, that is compassionate to you. And call me in a month or two and tell me how you're doing." Have you ever heard that one before? Usually it's like, okay, this is a problem. Here's something for it. Go do this. Call me. Make an appointment. Let's follow up and let's see how you're doing. And I'm not diminishing the medical world. It has its place. At times. It really does. There are times when there are certain things that I do believe we need to do. When I say the medical world, I'm going to say the Western medical world. Because there are so many other ways that we can approach something. It's been interesting as I've been at Emory often lately. They have spiritual health. And I thought it was really neat when I saw that. They have a chapel, but the word spiritual health, and it kind of gave me pause to smile and think, wow, they're addressing this particular area, because to me, that is at the core of healing. That to me is what I consider the answer. And my talk this morning could go on and on and on, because we could talk about all the different modalities that there are about healing. We could talk about the gurus that have people lined up for days. We could talk about spiritual people that we hear about. Oh, you seem to see this person and that person and that person. And oh, have you heard about so-and-so? They have people lined up at the door. And when I hear that, I go, wow. They have people lined up at the door because the same people keep coming back again and again and again. To me, a healer is somebody who is going to inspire you to go within to find your core, to find your answer of what it is that will bring you back to wholeness. If I'm going to stand here this morning and offer you a recipe for how to heal yourself, how arrogant and ignorant would I be to think that you are less than whole and perfect right now, and that you do not have the ability to heal yourself and to return yourself to wholeness. That is our responsibility, but what we do is we put it on the world out there. We go out there and we look for the cure. As I said a moment ago, we look for something to fix us because we still have this belief that we are broken, that something is not right. And it doesn't deny that there's something perhaps happening in your physical body. So please don't misunderstand me when I say that. I went through breast cancer, I can't even remember how many years ago now, I lost track. But what I did find for me is it truly was a gift. And I know people get really irritated sometimes when you say, look for the gift in your illness. Look for the gift in your situation. Because before, when I used to hear that, I want to slap somebody and say, how would you possibly have an idea of what is happening with me, and you're going to stand there and tell me to look for a gift? Are you kidding? This is a curse, not a gift. But over time, I've come to realize I was looking through a different lens. And over time, I have learned to say, you know what, Jeanie? It was okay for you to do that at that time, because that is where I was on my journey. If I'm not loving myself, if I'm not okay with who I am, the best I can do is to look at it through a lens that probably is a bit distorted, because I'm going to be looking through a lens of fear. And I'm only going to be able to see things in a certain way. And my vision is going to be obscured and blurry. And the beauty of it is, I've given myself an opportunity to learn about forgiveness. I've given myself an opportunity to say, hey, what, kiddo? You don't have to beat yourself up anymore for feeling for so many years you did it wrong. I used to say, how did I get cancer? What was I doing wrong? And in New Thought teachings, trust me, I made myself nuts by going, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? What did I attract? What did I attract? You can make yourself nuts. I know Melanie a few talks ago called it medical malpractice, because that's been one of my favorite ways. I heard that years ago, because it is when people say, what are you thinking? Look what you drew into your life. No. We bring what we bring into our life because we do the best we can where we are in any moment with the consciousness, from the consciousness that we carry. If I'm immersed in fear, what do you think I'm going to draw to me? More fear. If I'm focused on, I've got to find a fix for this particular thing, I'm going to keep finding more things to find fixes for. And it's just going to go on and on and on. So what does it truly mean to return to wholeness and return to healing? Does it mean I'm going to cure something within me? Cindy mentioned that earlier in prayer, and I appreciate you mentioning that. Just because there still may be a physical condition happening in my body doesn't mean that I'm not healed and that I'm not whole. That, I believe, is separate from the truth of me. It's something that's happening in the physical experience of me, but I know within me that I am whole and I am perfect. And my physical body is not the truth of me anyway. And it may pass on and do what it does, and I would say, woohoo, I'm ready for the next adventure. What am I going to sign up for next time? Because my soul is my essence. And it came here to expand. It came here to grow. It came here to have fun, to live in joy. That's our birthright. So we have these experiences that show up in our physical body. We have experiences in our mind. Because all of these things truly are, as we know, wonderful opportunities to return us back to that place of our true essence, which is love. So what I want to offer you, just as a kind of a roadmap, if you will, how to bring yourself back. How to bring yourself back on track when you feel like, oh my gosh, Jeanie, I'm over here and I don't know what to do with this, I don't know what to do with that, and I am so scared. I am so scared. I'm going to call it the AAA, Roadside Assistance for the Spiritual Journey. All right? Think of it as a roadmap. The first thing we need to do is to allow. We need to allow ourselves to receive love. Allow. We get in our own way more often than not. And we go into all the stuff, all the stories. You're not worthy. You're not this. You're less than. You did such a bad thing before. Boy, do we come up with them, don't we? We have such a case against us that the judge would say, guilty, because we have built such a case against ourselves. So you have to be able to allow yourself to be loved. If I don't allow myself to be the recipient of this, what I consider the most powerful energy in the cosmos, how can I offer that to you? Unconditionally. Unconditionally. How, if my cup is not full, how can I give you anything without expecting something in return? Because I'm going to be saying, well, I'm going to give this to you, but if I give this to you, come on now, I want something in return. No. It needs to be free. And when I am comfortable, when I am so at home with me and in love with me, and not from a self-centric, selfish place, but from a selfless place, I know then that I am truly living as the I am. I know that that divine expression of me as God, Buddha, Allah, life, creator, divine intelligence, whatever word you want to use, I know in that moment that that expression is flowing through me fully and fearlessly, so that I can anchor into that because I said, yes, I am allowing that because I am worthy. I am so deserving. It is my birthright. And I am willing to let go of all the stories and all the layers of stuff that I have accumulated in my life. So when we allow, it's in that moment of allowing that we can begin to expand our awareness. That's the second A. Awareness, awaken. Those two words I'll use interchangeably. Because if I am aware, say I'm on that road again, and if I'm not paying attention, and all of a sudden I'm over here, off in the, who knows where I am, and I'm thinking, gosh, how did things get so weird looking? If I'm not aware that I've taken a turn that's not in alignment with where it is that I am desiring to go in my life, how can I make another choice? How can I bring myself back without that awareness? It's pretty difficult. So the awareness, it opens me up to all of the different things that are around me. It's almost like, think of a flashlight, okay? And if I'm focusing that flashlight on one particular area, and I'm in the dark, well, I should have backed up a little bit. We're in a dark room and I've got a flashlight, and it's not a real big one, but I'm pointing this flashlight. What is it that I'm going to be able to see just where that flashlight is pointed, yes? There's nothing else that I can see. So the same thing, if I'm just pointed in one direction and it's based in fear, chances are I'm going to land in a fear place. And I'm going to be driving around trying to find my way out of fear when what I need to do is go, oh my goodness, I'm in this place. And I pay attention to how my body feels. I pay attention to what's happening in the physical expression of me because that's my barometer for what's going on. I pay attention, as the reading earlier, to listen to your body, what it's conveying to you. And say, okay, how do I turn on the floodlights now in this dark experience so that I can expand my flashlight and flood my experience with the light, to shine my light, and to know that I am guided in every single moment. The guidance never goes away. It's us who turn off our ears and stay like this with blinders on. And again, when I say that, there's no need to beat yourself up. As soon as you quit criticizing yourself and blaming yourself and giving yourself a hell of a time, your life will change instantly. I promise that. And yes, I am saying I promise that because it will. As soon as you stop, you have created this opening for the universe, for God, for love to infuse you. You can't help but feel it. It will be so visceral. And I know you felt it before. I know you have. So return to that place of love. It never goes away. We just move away from it. And quit giving yourself such a hard freaking time. Stop it. Stop it. And if you do that, imagine the impact you have on the world out there. Just like all the cells in your body, they communicate with one another and they create wholeness. Every single one of you, we are part of the one body, the whole, is what I believe. So we're all like little cells, and we are affecting all the other little cells. We're talking about world peace. We want healing on the planet. Where do you think it begins? Right here, within you. So that if I'm in your space, and even when I'm not physically in your space, because we are all energy, I'm going to be sending out an energetic signature, a vibration that is going to touch you in some kind of way. So I can step up to that responsibility of saying, hey, as I love me, I'm loving you. I'm loving the planet. And returning to wholeness. And the last A of our AAA roadmap on our journey is authenticity. Be yourself. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Anita Morjani. She's with Hay House now, but she wrote a book about an experience she had back in 2006. And her first book was called Dying to Be Me. Powerful book. To me, it's one of the most powerful stories I've ever heard of an NDE, a near-death experience. And when she crossed over and then came back, and I won't get into all the details of the story, I just encourage you to read her book. Fantastic. But what she had to say was, when she came back, be yourself. Your purpose in this lifetime is to simply be yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, then guess what? Here's an opportunity for you to learn more about you and the truth of who you are, and to love yourself in a way you never have before, to set yourself free from living in fear. When you are authentic, you don't have to think about so much stuff. Can you imagine if Jesus walked in here right now, into this room? Would we have to question whether or not Jesus was being authentic? Probably not. The energy that would fill this room would be like, oh, we would all go, whoa, did you just see who walked in the room? Jesus! We would all be like, probably in a state of shock. You're no different. Imagine if you walked into a room. When I say you, I mean your higher you self. Your soul self. If you walked into a room and you knew that you were truly the embodiment of the Most High, you're not going to have to say one word. Like Oscar Wilde, I love this quote, "Who you are speaks so loudly that I cannot even hear what you're saying." It doesn't matter, because your presence is what matters. And what you want, because you are a gift and you are magnificent, is to shine your light, like the song, your soul light. Shine it authentically and let it radiate throughout the cosmos. That's how we heal, because we're returning to love. The very essence is what is already whole and already perfect. That is you right now. It's up to you to decide to allow it, to become aware of it, and to live your life as you, because you are so beautiful and there's only one you. So live it. Live you like you've never lived you before, and love you like you never have before. And you will make such a profound difference, not only in your life, but in the lives of every other being on this planet and beyond. And I love you guys. Namaste.